Hi everyone, you are tuned into Well. It's good to see you back. If you are back, it's good to see you back. If you are new, welcome. I am Lebu and my name is Neo. It's been interesting, man. I'm so excited. I've been interacting with so many people out there. We have something interesting for people who are about to buy properties. You need to make sure that you stay tuned. If you're about to buy a property and you're still in the beginning phase, you're like, I don't trust, I don't know. Is this a good time or what? What should I look out? At least I didn't even know about the other costs. Stay tuned. At the end of the video, we're gonna have a present just for you. And so now what we like doing is that we like listening. We like listening to you guys and hearing what's the common question that you are getting, right? So now a lot of times it happens that people do not know which costs am I actually going to incur when I buy this particular property, right? I've ran my numbers on everything, but now I don't know what's going to be involved in buying this particular property. So now that's what we're going to cover in today. Today's topic is quite interesting because we run through all the costs that will contribute towards your total investment. Why this is important, whether it is for investment purposes or it's for buying purposes, is that you don't become shocked or you don't become amazed when you see a bill coming through and you're like, hey, I didn't anticipate this, I didn't anticipate it. So let's get into it. Costs when buying a property that I should be looking out for. So the first one that I'd like to go into is the transfer costs, right? It's the transfer costs. So now, well, when I started, right, I didn't understand. Okay, I knew when running my numbers that you do have transfer costs, right? But now the practical of it, I didn't have it, right? So now when you're going in towards transfer costs, you're going to face two lawyers, right? These are separate entities, right? I thought it was one. I remember after that one call and then you paid like, wow, this is not how much we anticipated. So yes, this is definitely going to our profit, man. Yes. So now this is going to depend mostly on how you are actually going to buy this particular property. If you're going to buy this property using a bond, then you're going to face two transfer attorneys that you're going to actually be looking at. So now the first one would be your bond registration attorney, right? So now the purpose of the bond registration attorney is for them to register the bond, right? To register the bond, for them to actually allocate the funds towards the person. Just to sneak in something, that means if I am buying the property through a cash deal, that means I will not be applying for a bond. So therefore, I won't be paying the bond attorneys. Yes. However, if I'm applying for a bond application, then I know I will be paying bond attorneys. So now, the second one that we actually wanted to talk about, right, it's the transfer attorneys. So now what the transfer attorneys will do is that, say for instance, Neo wants to buy a house, right? Or better yet, let's use you, right? Say for instance, you want to buy a house from me, right? So now since you are wanting to buy a house from me, I am the one that has the particular property in my name, right? So now what the process is that I need to change, not really me, but now the transferring attorneys needs to transfer the property from my name into your name. Right? So now that would be the second attorneys that you need to pay. So now, if you are going to actually buy a property that was a development, you're not going to pay transfer attorneys, right? So now, think about this. Let's think about this, right? If you actually want to cut out all the transferring costs, right? So now, you would need to buy cash, right? To cancel out all the bond registration, right? And you'd need to buy a development, right? In that way, you won't be paying any transferring costs. But then taking into consideration, we need to understand this is going to impact our return on investment. So at the end of the day, even if you're like, you know what, I'm going to be focused on not paying these costs. However, what's important is that what is my return on investment? Because I can run away from these things. However, if I'm cash flowing negative, if I'm going to be running at a loss, it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it. Jumping on to number two is your down payment. Your down payment will vary from one bank to another depending on your credit status. That's if you're applying for bond. Now, what I want to emphasize on is that you need to have a strategy that's going to inform you how much you must pay towards down payment. It mustn't be this thing, you know what, I'm not going to be paying down payment because they didn't allow me. It's my choice, so I'm not going to pay. Have a strategy that's going to inform you that how much should I be paying for down payment. So now, one thing that we actually went through, right, is that we signed the offer to purchase that we were going to buy this property and put in a down payment of around 10%, right? So now, a down payment of around 10%. If we are buying this particular property at 1 million, 10% of that would be then 100,000, right? But now when we went to the bank and applied for the loan, the bank was like, you can only, if you do want to, you can actually take out 5%, right? So now in such a case, do not be afraid to go and try renegotiate with the seller, right? If the seller is the one that says, nope, I want that 10% down payment, then you do not have a choice because you actually signed the offer to purchase. But now in our situation, we went back to the seller and we spoke to them in terms of, the bank is actually going to give me all the money, but now I only want to put in the down payment of 5%. Then that was actually approved, right? So now do not be afraid to actually go and renegotiate the offer to purchase.
Number 3, having a conveyancer on your side with regards to being proactive towards your OTP, your offer to purchase, instead of being reactive. So now what am I saying in terms of being proactive? This is when you will have a conveyancer by your side, and once you get the offer to purchase, you will read it, see if it makes sense to you, then take it to, not just see it if it makes sense, then sign, then give it to them, and take it to your conveyancer, and they will tell you, they need to tell you, what does that offer to purchase actually talk about, so that you know fully what did you admit to. If you're going to sign and you're not 100% sure about it, because some people are proactive in terms of adding in other terms and conditions, so you don't want to find yourself actually being reactive and like, I didn't know that I was signing for this. Position yourself correctly by using other people's experiences and other people's knowledge.
So now I just remembered right now from the meeting that we just had, right, with one lady, is that there was an attorney, right, and we took the offer to purchase to them for them to actually read it and verify if everything is correct, right? So now the attorney said, this is a good deal, just sign the offer to purchase and pay me 1,500 Rand, right? So looking at that, right, that doesn't actually make sense, because now it's as easy as someone saying that, okay, I looked at the contract and everything is good. What I would want my attorney to do with me is that they need to sit down with me and actually tell me that, okay, these are the things that will happen if you do not actually comply with everything that's written there. So now it's always important for you to understand, fully understand what you actually putting yourself into.
Last but not least, go with your power team, with the construction guys, and see if there's any reno needed. If there is a reno that's needed, factor that into your numbers.
Yes, because now what happens most of the time is that there are those minor in our eyes, right? It seems like a minor problem. You might see a black part on the ceiling, right? And you think that I'll just put a paint over that, right? But not. Now, you need to also take into consideration that there might be a huge leaking coming down from the roof, and then the roof might have a huge problem. So now it's always important for you guys to go with the reno guys to actually check out what's been going on in that particular property. So now what the guys will actually do is that they will come down with the paper, they will come to you with the paper and actually equipment to actually test if there is any dampage in the property, if there is structural defects, if the roof does actually have a problem. So now it's always important for you guys to have the power team with you.
Last thing you want to do is getting the property, not factoring in those reno costs, only to find out after that there's a damp, there's a problem with the plumbing system. And then you be like, no, you know what, I'll just put paint over it. And then the tenant comes in, they live in there, and then that damp becomes worse, and it actually destroys. It destroys their belongings.
Or going into the property and looking at the property and say, I'll only need 50,000 to actually refurb this whole thing. But now when you actually go deeper in this property, you find out that you need 100,000 to it.
Oh, no.
The property is in the process of being renovated, but now it's selling, and now they're only halfway through the process. So now do not find yourself in that particular situation.
Guys, it has been awesome. We hope that we have brought into light a lot of things that you can actually consider before you actually even buy the property, so that you don't become surprised. So I want to make a call out. I want to make a call to people that are about to invest in properties and don't have necessary knowledge about investing in a property. So what we want to do is we're going to hit a link below of our email address, and let's have a conversation about what is there to look forward to and what is there to look out for.
Noel,
signing out.
Have a productive week, man.